Hi guys, welcome back. I am Stu and this is Icy Adventures for Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic Wacky Worlds expansion. The Environment Agency has turned to you to transform an old oil refinery, Ecological ISO, into a top tourist attraction. Land is cheap but loan interest is high. You can sell the old buildings for salvage. Your objective, to achieve a park value of at least 200,000 at the end of October, year 5. 200,000 isn't very high and it's made all the easier for a 5-year scenario, so we shouldn't have too many issues there. It does mention loan interest being high, so let's have a look at that. 20%. Wow, that is high. So what I think I'm going to do then is just build cheap and cheerful until the money starts rolling in, because we don't want to be borrowing too much money, because we are going to get stung on the loan interest if we do. So admission, £10. What I usually do, put that up to 40 to begin with. It's a nice number. Guests won't pay the 40 at the beginning. Some might, but most won't. But as soon as you put down a certain number of rides, the guests will start paying it. And the game does have a cap on the amount of guests that it will send into the park, depending on how many rides you've already got. So if you fill the park up with guests who've only paid, say, £10 or £20, then by the time you get a park that is worth paying £40, you won't have as many guests coming in. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so we've already seen that. Let's look at the rides. We've got a couple of transport rides. Probably won't bother with those. Some gentle rides. A couple of coasters to begin with. These ones. So that's a corkscrew, and that one is like an inverted shuttle. So that's pretty cool. Water ride, yeah, and a load of shops. Okay, so we haven't got much in the way of thrill rides, so I think I'll put all my research into thrill rides. As I said, I'm going to build cheap and cheerful, so I think what I'll do is I'll just build a path straight down. I might alter the land, flatten it out in certain places, and just build whatever I've got, flat ride, shops, that sort of thing. And then as soon as the guests start coming in, that way maybe we can do something a bit bigger and more exciting later. But to begin with, I'm just going to concentrate on cheap and cheerful rides and see what happens. Almost at the end of year 1, we've got a park value of 127,000, so only another 63,000 to go. We've got plenty of time to do it, so I'm not worried at all. So I've plonked down a load of the flat rides, a load of the shops, cash machine, that sort of thing. We're charging £40 entry. Guests more than happy to pay it. There's a lot of sick everywhere, because what I've done with the rides I've put down, I've gone for very short rides, maybe high on the intensity side, because value is calculated by the stats from the ride. So with this one, yeah, the excitement might be low, but the intensity is high, so that's going to give us good value. So let's have a look then. What have we got? So here's our first coaster, Polar Bear Attack. So the stats are quite high on that, so that's going to give us some good value. So it's a reverse shuttle with these inverted polar bear cars. Just takes it up, drops it down, a cut back, a little inline twist up the hill and back to the station. And then this side, then we've got, it launches. So this is based on like a corkscrew, so it launches into the half corkscrew, half loop, a corkscrew, and then back to the station. So nothing too complex, very cheap and simple to make. Good stats, that'll give us some good value. And then we've got a bobsleigh coaster, or penguin bobsleigh as it is, penguin plummet. The stats aren't great on this one, although to be honest, with a bobsleigh, a 5 is what I'm happy with. So it's quite simple. It just comes out, goes around a few bends, up on a chain lift, and then what was that? Disgusting state of the paths. That's fine. I'm not worried about sick or anything like that, because all we're concentrating on is park value. So with these bobsleighs, there is a minimum length that you need as well. So that's sometimes you build one and the stats are quite low, so it's probably that you just need it to be a little longer. Yes, I've got a double path coming down, some flat rides just off it. Guests are loving the park so far, loads coming in. I'm just going to continue building down. I'm just going to focus on cheap and cheerful rides, get the value up, and then maybe we can do something crazy at the end. End of October, year 2, we've got a crazy vertical drop coaster just there, but we'll continue our little journey down the path. So I've carried on building the double path just down here. So I've gone for a Mobius. What coaster is it again? Hyper Twister. Good stats on this one. High excitement on that. So it comes up the chain lift. So at the start, it's missing a chain lift for the first couple of track lengths on the inside car. So that is just so that the outside car takes a bit of a lead. Same at the top as well. So because there's two different length bends, so by the time it gets to the top, the one on the inside is slightly ahead. If I'd had the chain lift all the way around, it would be much further ahead. But so we want them to sync up as well as possible. The money's pouring in at the moment, so we can go for something a little bit crazy. Trying to mix it up, trying to get at least one of everything. So just here then, glacier slide. So decent stats for the dinghy slide. So a lot of the slide is enclosed, because if it's enclosed, the guests can't fall off it and die. And then this bit by here, I've just gone for another little lift as well, just to get it up and then back down to the station. And then over here, we've gone for something. We're starting to go a bit crazy now. So we've got the vertical drop, Icy Blast, high excitement, high intensity. So we're getting some good value off this. Gone for some very high drops. The little twists as you're going down, that doesn't count for lateral G or anything like that. So it's only really there just to make it look cool. And then it comes back up, block brake section there just to help the next train on its way. And then down, we've got a loop, and we've got it going through the loop as well. And then back to the station. Park value 227,000. We need 200,000. So we've done it already, but we've got another 3 years. So we might as well try and have a bit of fun. Put down loads more rides, concentrate on shuttles, that sort of thing, and then where we've got a nice space, go for something quite crazy. We've got everything unlocked, so I've switched off funding. You have to remember to switch it off manually, because it doesn't switch off automatically. So if you don't do that, you will just be wasting cash. Money's pouring in. So we had 9,000 in September. Before that, 6s, but we're not spending that much. I mean, there's 14,000 there, but that's because we have built a couple of big rides. But where we've built in the smaller rides, they don't cost so much. So we got 3 years to go. I'm going to crack on. End of October, year 3, we've got a park value of 324,000. So that's over 100,000 more than what we need. Haven't got any loan. Money is pouring in. Guests 1,700. Green arrow, so we got more coming in. Ratings on maximum. We're flying. So we've got another coaster here. Simple shuttle. Goes up at the back, drops it, corkscrew, loop, up and back. Narwhal, how do you pronounce these things? I don't know. They're like what are they? They're like a dolphin, but with a spike on the front, like a cross between a dolphin and a unicorn. Weird things. Good stats on that. So 686. That's gonna add a ton of value to that. What have we got just around here then? We've got a mini coaster. Slippery Sea Lion, good stats. And then we've got another one of these corkscrew seals or whatever they are. Arctic fox. So good stats on this one. Again, launches out of the station into a cutback, a loop. So it's a bit of a weird one, because I think if you launch, what's the speed? The maximum speed, 27 miles per hour. So that's not fast enough to go do a loop on its own. But if you put a cutback, some reason you get enough speed that you can then go through a loop. And then we've got like a cobra roll on the end, but it comes out at the side back to the station via a photo section. So there's always a nice boost of cash then. And what I've done then is I've done a big loop around there. So I figure somewhere in the middle we can go for something a little bit crazy. And then just here then we've got another vertical drop coaster, just down into a loop, and then an underground section back, and then up to the station. Snowy Owl, good stats, guests loving it. And then just here then another corkscrew, gone a bit overboard with the actual corkscrew elements as well. But we want cheap and cheerful rides, and we want to get some good stats, some high stats on them, because the high stats mean good park value. So we're just going for loads of corkscrew elements and then have it back to the station. So that's that's roller coaster number 10. And we've gone for 10 inversions and 10 drops as well. Well, obviously, because there's 10 inversions and each inversion has got a drop. So yeah, that makes sense. So now we've got a big space in the middle. I've got 2 years to build something crazy. I mean, we probably could buy, can we? Let's have a look. Yeah, there's loads of land we could buy if we wanted to, but I'm not going to. We don't need to. We've got more than enough value, and whatever we add in the middle here is surely going to make up for whatever value we lose, because rides will depreciate over time. So if a ride is worth, I don't know, 40,000 park value now, in 2 years' time, it might only be worth 34. I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but it will depreciate over time. So I'm going to crack on, try and build something crazy. It gives me plenty of time to build it, test it, synchronize it, etc. So I'll see you in a bit. End of year 4. I'm in the middle of building something a bit crazy in the middle, but I thought I'd just pop back and show you this one. So somewhere along the lines, this coaster, it's a Mobius coaster, somewhere along the lines it's gone out of sync. So there's more. Let's have a look. What have we got? We've got 4 trains, so there should be 2 trains on each side of the track, but there's not. There's 3 on one side and 1 on the other. So let's, if we go to hide ride, so there you go, there's 1 there. So what I'm going to do is just go in, take it off synchronize, press play, yeah, press play, that's the word. Just wait for it. Let's put it on fast forward. There you go. So that one's going now. So let's put it back on synchronize, because we don't want the train behind to go. So that'll stop. The other train will go next to it. The only issue we could have is that as soon as this train here clears the block section, one of these trains is going to want to go. So what we could do is we could raise the minimum waiting time. And it should be fine. There you go. So we can untick that now. And it's back to normal. Yeah, so here's a little sneak peek of what I'm building. I'm just going to crack on, and I'll see you next year. it is the end of year 5, just a week or so left for the scenario. The park objective was 200,000. We've got 329. So 326 has just changed. It will do that every so often, depending on how many guests are going on the ride, etc. Fairly simple scenario, to be honest. It's in the expert settings, but don't let that fool you. As long as you don't spend tons of cash early on, you'll be fine. There is a 20% interest rate on this, so any money you do borrow, you will be stung for quite a high interest rate. But the trick was just to build loads of cheap and cheerful rides. So I put my research into throw rides to begin with, put a load of them down, put whatever rides we had to begin with, put a load of shops, just went for a simple 2-tile wide path all the way down, built a load of shuttles and things like that. We started researching coasters, just built whatever we had, and then once I'd finished building the paths down here, I built across and then back up and then finished off the loop, and that way then I left myself a nice space in the middle to build something fairly crazy. We'd done the scenario goal by the end of year 2, I think it was, so I spent most of year 3 then building this ride here in the middle, testing it, getting it to sync up, and then year 4 then I've pretty much just year 5 I've pretty much run it on fast forward. So we've got a vertical drop coaster called Orca. So we've got 10.19 excitement, so it's very high excitement. So it's benefiting from having the stations through the loops, having the pathing through the loops as well. So I've got the a little seating area underneath the loops. I think that would be cool. So with these then, because we've got the track on the inside, has got 2 inside corners. So as it comes around the bend, there's a holding brake on the inside track. And then that'll drop them down. And it's fairly close. They're out of sync at the moment. I can see that it has broken down quite a lot. So I can see that they are out of sync, which is annoying. I can see they're out of sync because what I've done is I've put the colours of the train. There you go, you can see it there. I've gone for, so I've got 6 trains. So I've got trains 1 and 4 are pink, trains 2 and 5 are blue, and trains 3 and 6 are orange. So that way then, when they're running in pairs, they should have the same colour next to it. So I'm going to have to fiddle about with the sync on that. But other than that, it's fine. So there you go. It's just about to go for Halloween. So we're going to pass the scenario. It's quite simple. As long as you focus on cheap and cheerful rides, you'll do it no problem. 200,000 is a very simple target to beat. 5 years is way more time than you need, and we've done it. Fantastic. We haven't bought any extra land. We've just used what we were given. I have flattened some areas out, just to simplify the path and that sort of thing. But other than that, we haven't really done much. So I am Stu. This was Icy Adventures. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.